Accelerate 2023 in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm with Taruna Ghandi, VP of Marketing for Pure's digital experience.
Yes, nice to meet you, Steve.
Good to
Very
meet
happy
you.
to be here.
So I'm intrigued by your title because most storage companies you talk to, they don't talk about digital experience, but yeah, you have a whole group because you're over it.
Yeah.
What does digital experience mean, Pure?
Oh, so digital experience. So I'm part of the business unit that is, for lack of a better word, in the business of SaaSifying storage.
SaaSifying storage.
Yeah, so we do all the subscription. We do
Right.
Evergreen One storage as a service, plus Evergreen Flex and Forever, and Pure One, which is our AI Ops control plane.
There's a lot there. So there's been a lot of conversations, aisle conversations here at the conference, right? Pure likes to talk about simplifying the storage experience, right? Which is not just about operational storage, right? It's not about configuring LUNs and provisioning volumes. It really starts with acquisition and goes all the way through the life cycle. And with some of the Evergreen stuff, that life cycle can be a really long time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. We have arrays that have been in service for like 10 years now and still going.
In the Evergreen program, there's an Evergreen program for rolling controller upgrades over the years, or how does that?
Right, yeah, no, so we actually have a portfolio of Evergreen subscriptions, right? So for customers who are adopting the cloud operating model and thinking about storage as a service, we have Evergreen One, and we have Evergreen Flex for customers who want to buy the asset but still want to take benefit of the consumption economics. And then Evergreen Forever, that was the first subscription that we introduced that entitles customers to periodic upgrades and updates on both the software and the controller and the media and everything.
So it's interesting. We were allowed to talk to some customers yesterday, and I raised my hand and asked the customer a question. I said, all of this Pure One Evergreen stuff, right, does it make any sense? Is it a differentiator? And he looked at me and he said, it's game changing for us. We couldn't do what we do to deliver services to our customers without what Pure is giving us with Pure One, for sure. And I learned, so there were some announcements around this. I learned that there's 6 service level agreements now as part of Evergreen, and you added one, which is really interesting this week.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Evergreen One, this is everything driven by SLAs, right?
Right.
And it has an SLA on uptime, it has an SLA on performance, it guarantees a 25% buffer capacity.
Okay.
We never have any planned downtime for maintenance or upgrades based on our Evergreen architecture. And then earlier in January, we added an energy efficiency SLA, which I think is very unique in the industry, where we're guaranteeing certain watts per TIBs based on the subscription level that the customer
And you have a
purchases.
sustainability dashboard as part of
And
that, right?
yeah, we absolutely, we have a sustainability assessment that the customer can take, yeah.
Sure.
And then the newest one is around ransomware recovery. So we announced a new SLA. It's actually an add-on service to the core Evergreen service. And what this one does is it guarantees a clean storage environment that the customer can recover to. And that's actually a very interesting one, right? Like what we were hearing from the customers was that oftentimes when they have a ransomware attack, their array might get locked out. It might get taken out of production. Maybe forensics has taken it, or law enforcement, or insurance people. And customers who are running very lean, especially storage as a service customers, may find that they are down arrays when they're most vulnerable. So this new SLA, it guarantees that we will ship a clean storage environment to these customers within the next business day. Well, next business day for US, EMEA, and UK, and takes a little longer in APJ. But that's the goal of it, so that the customers have a clean environment to recover to.
So I was talking to one of your engineers yesterday, and there's a lot more to that than you're letting on. You're starting to do ransomware detection in the box, right? You're essentially looking at entropy and deciding maybe this is a block of data that's been tampered with, and raising alert and bubbling that up to Pure One.
Yeah, no, that's an emerging area that we're using AI and machine learning to surface up some of these advanced signals that there might be an anomalous activity going on. But let's take a step back, right? I mean, Pure announced safe mode. It's been a few years when safe mode was announced.
And is that the immutable snapshots?
That's the immutable snapshots, right? And earlier this year, we turned on safe mode for everybody. But then we also found that customers were still struggling with like, I turned safe mode on. Am I good? Is this good enough?
Right.
Do I have to do anything more? So we introduced this new data protection assessment, and what that does is, that was one of the announcements here at Accelerate, is it helps our customers benchmark their environment against our best practices. And within that data protection assessment, we surfaced up this new anomaly detection capability, which is using machine learning. So it's looking at the customer's environment, it's understanding what's normal for that environment, and then it's looking at a specific signal on data reduction ratio.
Right.
Why data reduction ratio? Well, one of the things that happens in a ransomware attack is that your data gets encrypted. And so when that happens, you'll see a dramatic fall in the data reduction ratio. And so that could be an advanced signal that we surface up to the customer. Okay. Now, of course, it's possible that somebody turned on an encryption and that's what they wanted to do, or the DBA turned it on and forgot to tell anybody.
Right.
But certainly warrants more investigation, and that's what we are alerting the customers to.
But you don't take action, basically. You're letting the customer decide, because as you said, there may be a real reason for that, a valid reason.
Yeah. But the other thing that it does that I find is very interesting is it will do full time and date stamp on when that anomaly started.
Okay.
Right? So if you are a customer and you know you've been hit by an attack and you're wondering, should I go back a week, a day, a month? Like, how much data loss am I willing to take?
Right.
This will actually take some of that guesswork out, right? Because you can see when that anomaly started, so you can say, okay, that's the snapshot I want to recover from.
Right. And is this implemented on FlashBlade, FlashArray, both?
It's implemented currently on FlashArray.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's kind of normal for us. We start with FlashArray, and then you'll soon
Makes
see
sense.
it come for across the board.
What else did your team announce?
I think those were the big ones.
Okay.
In addition, I think you saw the announcement around FlashArray E, right?
Yes,
and
yes.
adding to the FlashBlade E family and kind of having that full end-to-end use case of variant capacity for block, file, and object covered. And we also announced as part of that there is a new Evergreen//One storage as a service tier for that E family.
Okay.
Kind of targeting the same kind of workloads, long-term repositories and cold storage. So there's an Evergreen//One available for that. And we also announced that Evergreen Flex will be available for those new offerings.
And what is Evergreen Flex?
Evergreen Flex we introduced Evergreen Flex last year at Accelerate. Okay. So it's been in market for a year, and it's a very interesting concept. This is for customers who still need to own the asset, but they pay for the utilization of purchased capacity on a consumption basis. Right,
so it's not quite as a service.
It's not quite as a service.
I own the physical hardware,
yeah,
so I have
exactly.
that CapEx spend.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and especially if you're a company who's like measured on, say, for example, EBITDA, right? And you need those assets on books,
right.
But you like the consumption economics, it kind of gives those customers a way to do it. But it does not come with SLAs because, we can guarantee SLAs when Pure owns the gear and Pure deploys the gear. But Flex is a very good option for customers who want to optimize their budgets based on that.
Okay, and I was talking to someone yesterday. Your as-a-service offerings, they're meeting or beating expectations internally. It's a popular thing.
Yeah, no, if you look at our latest earnings, right, you can kind of see that the subscription business has really taken off.
All right. So Pure, famously, you have say it again. So Pure, you famously have a net promoter score above 80, and I know Charlie takes it very seriously. I remember the first time I met Charlie, and this was 4 or 5 years ago, he said, our NPS score dropped. I asked, what are you focused on? He said, our NPS score dropped by 1 point, and I got to get to the bottom of it.
Yep.
And a big part of that is what your team delivers. How do you keep up with what the customers want? Is it at shows like this, or you spend a lot of time with your customers?
Well, actually, across the board, right? Definitely shows like this, but we have different customer advisory boards. We meet with customers at other venues. We rely on our SE and field teams to bring those insights to us. We rely on our partners to bring that information to us. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the goal, is to understand where the customers are feeling the pain and how can we simplify it for them.
And I think that may be more difficult for your team than other teams. If I'm just building a storage product, it's a rich competitive environment and technology trends are pretty well defined. But Pure's a leader in the digital experience. You really have no one to follow. You're kind of setting the bar.
Well, we certainly like to believe that, right? And our goal with Evergreen One has been to continue to differentiate it with these SLAs, and not just SLAs, not just like things on paper, right? Like SLAs with real teeth. So if we don't meet our SLAs, we will give customers service credit for missed SLAs, and we will take any remediation action that we will include even changing out the hardware or doing any on-site professional services work. We will actually take that on.
Excellent. So we got 12 months till the next Accelerate.
Yes.
What's your team focused on? Can you tease us a little bit?
Wow, yeah. So obviously, anomaly detection that we introduced is our first foray into surfacing up these insights for the customer. We've always had some of that data for our support people, which is why they can proactively go fix issues before the customer notices. But that you can expect that might be an area that we will continue to focus on. The other thing, like I said, we differentiate Evergreen One through our SLAs. So, the ransomware recovery one's the most recent one, but you can expect more of that to come. Maybe other differentiated SLAs. Sustainability has been a big differentiator for us, so we're working on Sustainability 2.0. I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay.
So something to look forward to.
Something to look forward to. I'll be pinging you. All right, I'm going to let you go because it's a busy show, and I know you're fully booked. But thank you for taking the time.
No, it was awesome. Great talking to you.
Yeah, excellent.
All right.